A message to the entire black world, to all black people, no matter the hue. Whenever you see the black cube, it represents you. Find out why. You see, Ice Cube is a Saturnian. For the most part, he wears all black. You always see him in black. Always. You always see Ice Cube in black because black is associated with the Roman god known as Saturn. Black, darkness, limitation, that's associated with Saturn, as well as the aspect of child sacrifice or devouring children. Because during the Saturnalia, which was a Roman festival, also the origin of Christmas, it was based in the worship of Saturn. And what they would do at the temple of Saturn is, they would sacrifice children, sacrifice animals, even certain people. It was based in their commemoration or veneration of Saturn. Now, Saturn is also connected with the Canaanite deity known as Molech, or the Phoenician deity known as Molech or Baal. And Baal is also known as the god of child sacrifice. And the reason why Ice Cube links black people with the cube of Saturn is because of the Canaanite aspect. But he doesn't really understand that not all blacks are of Canaan. That's the confusion there. But Ice Cube is someone who professes or understands, who he is in regards to being an Israelite. So, there's just some mix up there just in regards to his understanding because he connects us with Canaan. But we understand that the promised land is in Canaan. We understand the Canaanite connection to Israelites. We understand, the origins going back to Shem. And that's something that's going to be discussed in this video as well, just in regards to how he's labeled as an anti-Semite. It just doesn't really make any sense. We already understand that we live in this world of lies. So when you live in the world of lies, there's going to be so much confusion. It's going to be so much contradictions and paradox. It just is what it is. But we obviously understand that the cube of Saturn, is so much to it in regards to the veneration. It's also associated, or it's pretty much the same thing as the Kaaba stone, in which Islam, they worship. They worship the cube of Saturn. They just don't understand that. And it has 6 sides for a reason. We already know the number 6 being associated with the planet Saturn. So it's so much to the Saturnian worship. And Ice Cube is just someone who's acting as a buffer. He is a Saturnian. He worships Saturn.
Iridescent blackness. Is this performative or praxis? Are we talking about practice? Rock the kufi backwards, magic Negro, Wesley Snipes taxes. Dark inside the ibex with 2 ratchets. African accents, American names like Dave and Patrick. The game is the game. You just gotta change tactics. Revolvers to automatics, back to revolvers, nothing is static. Black bastards, Negro human laugh in the casket. Yellow teeth and eyes is flashing. Some nights the sun shines, just gotta catch it.
For all the world, just as said in that bit there from a song called Black Sunlight from this group known as Arm & Hammer, consisted of Billy Woods and Elucid, a great rap group, very abstract and poetic, dope as hell. And what they're trying to connect or convey is this aspect of the hidden one, just in regards to the black sunlight representing Saturn. Saturn is also known as the hidden one. And when it comes to us as so-called blacks, just in regards to certain people and what they uphold about melanin, that's the conveyance there. The black sunlight, iridescent blackness. We already understand that iridescence is just based off of how we glow in the sun. And the hidden aspect is based off of the Saturnian aspect. The dark sun glowing at night, just in regards to the conveyance from the rap. And the way I like to format these videos is I like to create like a cohesive segue. So you see this here just based off of what we were talking about with Ice Cube, following, that little bit there about black sunlight for all the world, the cube of Saturn, black Saturn, or the black sun. Also, when we think about the black sun, we think about, the symbol going back to the Nazis, known as like the Black Schwartz or something like that, which is like a wheel representing the understanding of death. And also the black, is the aspect of the Negretto, absent of light, the shadow self. So Ice Cube, he pushes this because of all these different aspects associated with Saturn, as well as these alchemical concepts. You go from nothing to something, man to a god, lead to gold, the Negretto phase going into the Enlightenment phase. And this is pretty much the start of that ritual that occurred in 2020 in June. The number 6 representing Saturn, the cube's 6 sides. So you have these elements that just match up because it's all narrative based, but it's based in their veneration system. And lest I forget, this is also the logo for the film company from Ice Cube known as Cube Vision. He, alongside this other guy, I believe it's some white man, I forget his name, but yeah, this is the logo for Cube Vision, the film company from Ice Cube. Started in, I think, 1995. First movie from Cube Vision was Friday. And mind you, Friday's the day before what day? Saturn's Day. So, all of this stuff, it all ties in. The black sun in German is known as Schwarze Sonne. It's a type of sun wheel, Sonnenrad, symbol originated in Nazi Germany and later employed by neo-Nazis and other far-right individuals and groups. The symbol's design consists of 6 radio SS logos, and number 6. Number 6 revolved heavily around Saturn. It first appeared in Nazi Germany as a design element in a castle at Wewelsburg, remodeled and expanded by the head of the SS, Heinrich Himmler, which he intended to be a center for the SS. The symbol appeared nowhere else in Nazi Germany. Now, the sun element, or the black sun element, or the Saturnian element, is something that's heavily venerated in mainstream society. Just in regards to the entertainment industry, when it comes to the occult, they worship Saturn. A lot of these entertainers, they wear all black because it's based in their veneration of Saturn. And a lot of these celebrities, or some of these celebrities, they use the symbol. And they go into it just when it comes to certain conveyances, just like we pointed out with the song from Arm & Hammer. Not only is it an allusion to so-called blacks, just in regards to what he's trying to paint, trying to, pretty much associate us with the planet Saturn, or associate us with the principle or concept of Saturn, but it's also an allusion to the black sun wheel. Now, it's interesting here, just as I talked about in regards to context, with these segues that's based in cohesion. It's interesting that we go into this film that was released in 1999, 99 representing 66 for Molech. This film was revolved around Adolf Hitler. And, it was directed by a Russian filmmaker by the name of Alexander Sokurov or something like that. This film goes into the life of Adolf Hitler, released in 99. We already understand that the conveyance for 99 is also 66, as well as 1999, which is 666. But the connection to Molech, is pretty much prevalent. It's glaring. So we understand that just in conjunction with the Nazi symbol for the sun wheel, as well as Nazi Germany, Adolf Hitler, the so-called Jews, it all ties in just in regards to the context of this video. And also, guys, we already understand that, or most of you understand that, the ruling planet for the constellation known as Capricorn is Saturn. Saturn, even the name goes back to the Satyr, the half man, half goat. Leviticus, I believe 7 and 17 goes into it in regards to the Satyrs. So when you think about, the Baphomet or Pan or Faunus, it goes back to the Satyr, half man, half goat. And really with the Baphomet, Eliphaz Levi, what he did was he gave you the androgynous element to it, where it's like half man, half woman, half goat. But this, as far as pan or fondness or the goat concept, goes back to the half men, half goat in regards to the Satyrs, just when it comes to the understanding. So this is why Saturn, or Saturday, is pretty much a day of the goat, or day of worship for the goat, or the planet Saturn, is in conjunction with the goat because of Capricorn, the sea goat known as Capricorn. And also Capricorn is an allusion to Dagon. Dagon was worshipped by the Philistines. Dagon is also associated with, Molech, the god that was worshipped by the Canaanites. Now, this was in 2020. This was sometime, I believe, around like the coronavirus, around the pandemic in 2020. On Wednesday, Ice Cube 50 tweeted an image of a black cube that's called the Black Cube of Saturn, an occult-related symbol that indicates chaos. The black cube was laid over an image of a Star of David, seemingly implying that the Jewish people are somehow behind the world's chaos, and echoing anti-Semitic aspects of the popular Illuminati conspiracy theories. You see, the people in power, they love to label these things as conspiracy theories, even though when it comes to these theories, certain findings come to light, certain findings are proved, and a lot of the media just ignore these things that come up, that get discovered, especially in the aftermath of 9/11. A lot of things came to light in regards to that nefarious issue that took place, the nefarious catastrophe that took place. And the media just love to ignore these things in regards to the demolition aspect, which we know it was, the bombs, so on and so forth. Certain news reporters not willing to talk about the bombing aspect because that gives off the understanding that it was more than just planes hitting the building and fire allowing it to come down, which is something that cannot be possible. Just when it comes to the way it collapsed, we already understand that was controlled demolition. Coronavirus, something else that was nefarious, just when it comes to a lab-made pandemic, as well as, the nefarious aspects of these agendas behind it, the deception behind it, deception behind the kill count, so on and so forth. We live in a nefarious world. We already know that. So we always come back to this sort of like catch-22, or this sort of paradox where you have this contradiction, this contradictory dynamic. It's like we know it's evident. You people can deny it and label things anti-Semitic and conspiracy theorists all you want. You confuse people with these things. You perpetuate confusion with these things. Because anti-Semitic is deeper than what people may understand. To be anti-Semitic means you're anti-Shem. But as we know, technically, so-called blacks come from Shem. So how can we be anti-Semitic? That's just a power line. That's just something they use. It's a power label, anti-Semitic. That doesn't even make sense, especially if it's coming from a so-called black. And Ice Cube claims himself to be of, Israel. So how is he anti-Semitic? If anything, he's letting you know that you people are liars. But that's how they play. And we already understand that Ice Cube is just playing a character. He's playing a role. In this dynamic, he's controlled opposition. He already understands what he's doing. These people have to act as buffers, but they're allowed to. Certain ones are allowed to, like a Cat Williams, Ice Cube, Kendrick Lamar. They're allowed to, just to push further agendas and let people know, hey, listen, if you do this, this is what happened to you. Or, other outcomes of what can reverberate from that, But let's just continue reading on. The black cube was laid over an image of a Star of David, seemingly implying that the Jewish people are somehow behind the world's chaos and echoing anti-Semitic aspects of the popular Illuminati conspiracy theories. People have also used the black cube to claim that Jews were behind the 2011 September 11 attacks, 2001, terrorist attacks, and the novel coronavirus, according to the Jewish Chronicle. Now, it's funny because I said 2011, but a lot of things reverberate from that year, 2001, and based off of the number 11, as we know. And I'm going to do a video on, I believe his name is Danny Jowenko. He was a demolition expert that was removed in 2011 based off of his discoveries and certain things that he revealed. So we already understand what took place on 9/11. We already know that was a ritual, the numerology, the date, so on and so forth. It's glaring. It's too much. I mean, obviously, when we was kids, we didn't know nothing about any of this stuff. But you get older, you understand what's real. The week before, on June 6th, Ice Cube posted another quote-unquote anti-Semitic image, which shows old white men with large noses playing Monopoly on a table held up by black men. It's a picture of a 2012 mural painted in London that was later removed for its offensiveness. Fuck the new normal until they fix the old normal, he said in a tweet. Now it's funny because on June 6th that represented 6-6. And 6-6 is for Molech, aka Baal or Baal. Molech is the god or false god, the idol that was worshipped by the Canaanites, known as the god of sacrifice or child sacrifice. So when we look at abortions, just think about Molech. They're sacrificing their child to Molech. They just don't understand that. That's why the power structure, the people in power, they push abortion because, you know, on the undersurface or the undertone, it's in worship of Molech or Baal. That's what it represents. And just going more into it, we already understand that these people, they control the world. It is what it is. They can label it a conspiracy theory. They can tell you that you're crazy if you understand these things. But the proof is in the pudding. And it's been so much information and so much history that proves that it is what it is. Like, that's the case. The forefathers, they're Masons. The Federal Reserve, which was enacted in 1913, enacted by Masons under nefarious means. The government is so corrupt and they lie so much. That's how you know that these people, these Edomites, that they really live up to what they are in regards to the deceptive aspect. You know, they rule on lying and destruction. Lies and destruction. That's what it is. 9/11 was a destruction. And it was lies around it. Just for, a new order to be implemented. Same thing with 2020 and the coronavirus. New normal. They tell you these things without telling you. All you have to do is stand up and their little game is over. And this is what it's all about. We are products of this deception, this plan, this quote unquote conspiracy. Conspiracy is just a plan, man. That's all it is. In 1913, they conspired, And 1913 was a pivotal year because of what took place in regards to the Federal Reserve Act. And we're pretty much suffering from that, financially, economically, and we're used, We really live in a corrupt world and they continue to lie. That's all they do is lie. That's how you know this is Esau's kingdom, man. But yeah, Ice Cube, man, he's just one that's playing a role. He's a buffer. He's acting as a buffer. He's no different than a Cat Williams or Kendrick Lamar, where these guys, they're able to reveal certain things but still maintain their career and still, push whatever they want to push because they were used in that way, for this overall narrative, for this overall dynamic. So I just wanted to go into the Kaaba stone, just in the context of this video regarding the cube of Saturn. The Kaaba stone is another cube that's stone cut, representing the perfect Ashlar. And the perfect Ashlar just symbolizes the perfect man, just when it comes to the Masonic concept. So the name of the holy temple of Mecca, which is to the Mohammedans, what the temple of Solomon was to the Jews. It's just a Masonic understanding. Just when it comes to like these concepts that they take from the scriptures and they convolute it, like Boaz and Yakin from Solomon's temple. It is certainly older, as Gibbon admits, than the Christian era, and is supposed by the tradition of the Arabians to have been erected in the 19th century before Christ by Abraham, who was assisted by his son Ishmael. It derives its name of Kaaba from its cubical form, it being 15 feet long, wide, and high. It has but one aperture for light, which is a door in the east end. In the northeast corner is a black stone religiously venerated by the Muslims or the Musulmans called the Black Stone of Kaaba. It's pretty much the same composition or just another composite of the Black Cube of Saturn, right? Around which cluster many traditions. One of these is that it came down from paradise and was originally as white as milk. You know, that's also based in the concept of what we understand to be Easter, just in regards to the mother goddess who would sprout down from an egg or something like that. Just a nonsensical mythological understanding within these origins, these pagan origins for these pagan holidays. And was originally as white as milk, but that the sins of mankind turned it black. Another is that it is a ruby, which was originally one of the precious stones of heaven, but that God deprived it of its brilliancy, which would have illuminated the world from one end to the other. Sayyid Ahmad, or Sayyid Ahmad, who for Musalman has written a very rational history of the Holy Mecca, London 1870, says that the black stone is really a piece of rock from the mountains in the vicinity of Mecca, that it owes its black color to the effects of fire, and that before the erection of the temple of the Kaaba, it was no other than one of the numerous altars erected for the worship of God, and was together with other stones laid up in one of the corners of the temple at the time of its construction. Is really based in the worship of Saturn. It is in fact one of the relics of the ancient stone worship, yet it reminds us of the foundation stone of the Solomonic temple, it's ridiculous, to which building the temple of the Kaaba has other resemblances. Thus, Sayyid Ahmad, who in opposition to most Christian writers devoutly believes in its Abrahamic origin, says on page 6, interestingly enough, page 6, you know, that I lean more towards the coincidental aspect, but still, that the temple of the Kaaba was built by Abraham in conformity with those religious practices, according to which, after a lapse of time, the descendants of his second son built the temple of Jerusalem. Now, just when it comes to the understanding of the Temple of Solomon, we already know that that was based on a righteous cause. They say that Abraham helped Ishmael create the stone, just when it comes to the Kaaba, which is not true. It's all based in the worship of Saturn. That's what it was created for. This pretty much illustrates the antithesis to Leviticus 26:1. We are not to worship stones or any standing image, any graven image. This is something that these people do in these other cultures, in these religions. This is how you know that what we uphold and what we understand and what the Most High blessed us with is a knowledge that's based in something separate from all of this madness. And for the most part, separation invokes holiness, because that's what separation means, or that's what holy means. Holy means set apart. This is why only a few understand the truth about this world, and a few understand the truth about the Bible, and the truth about the customs associated with Israel, so on and so forth. Millions of people are a part of Islam, or the religion known as Islam, or the Nation of Islam, or Muslims, whatever. So many people. This is how you know that the Most High only deals with the lowly and the remnants, and it's iterated throughout the scriptures. He only deals with the remnants, the lowly. So you see all these people gathered around for a goddamn stone in Mecca. It's not anything associated with the Heavenly Father. And that's just the truth.